differentiated dynamic cash reserve requirement regime will be implemented to direct cheap long-term bank credit at 9% with a minimum tenure of 7 years and 2 years moratorium to the employment elastic sectors of the Nigerian economy. Details of this framework are being worked out by the Banking Supervision and the Monetary Policy Department and Research and will be released very soon. In consideration of the foregoing, therefore, the committee decided by a vote of 7 members to retain the monetary policy rate at 14% alongside all other policy parameters. 2 members, however, voted to increase the MPR by 50 basis points, while 1 member voted to increase the MPR by 25 basis points. Consequently, the MPC voted to retain 1, the MPR at 14%, 2, CRR at 22.5%, 3, liquidity ratio at 30%, 4, asymmetric corridor at plus 200 and minus 500 basis points around the MPR. I thank you for listening.
Thank you, Governor. Once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are here again for question and answers. Of course, our House rules remain. Only those issues that are directly related to the communique will be entertained when you're asking your questions. Please come up here, tell us your name, your organization, and one question, please. Okay, Matthias.
Thank you very much, Mr. Governor. I've listened to you, and I would like you to shed more light on the CRR innovation that you are trying to introduce to make banks lend to people. This is not the first time. At some period, we even reduced the CRR for banks, and we didn't see them lend so much to customers, particularly the private sector, to fix infrastructure. Can you tell us what the novel strategies that you are really employing to ensure that this time around they bring out this money from their vaults? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. My name is Sonia Adejoku from the Nigerian Tribune. So it's about the foreign exchange market. Now, there was something you did which people are enjoying. You directed banks to sell foreign exchange to customers on the counter once they are able to show proof that they are traveling. And so people are now able to get it at 305 naira.
360.
360 naira. Oh.
So he's got his clarification.
Yeah, Governor, good afternoon. Udo is my name. You said in your speech that the currency swap has taken off. And I know that a lot of Nigerians are still apprehensive about the benefits to Nigeria because they say that the arrangement tends to favor China more than Nigeria. Can you give us an update as to the 1 week that this currency arrangement has taken off? Then number 2, you also alluded to.
Let other people answer, ask questions.
Let him ask if he's related. That's okay.
Thank you for coming to my rescue, sir.
Provided you don't hit me.
No, I don't. Well, so the other issue has to do with the declining foreign reserve.
Yes.
And you also alluded to the fact that it has grown from 47.79 in June to about 47.2. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. We don't know exactly where are these things, the reserve going into. Is it politics or something? Can you give us an update?
Thank you. Chinemerem.
Good afternoon, Governor. My name is Chinemerem Joseph from Silverbird TV. Aside the gains in the currency swap with the People's Bank of China, can you also let us into the interbank exchange rate, since you commenced the sale of forex in yuan on Friday?
No, say that again. Oh yeah, on Friday. Okay,
Yes.
more clarification on the auction.
I think this is the last question. Okay.
Good afternoon, Governor Mola from KISS FM. The last speech, the last top statement you mentioned on the differentiated cash dynamic regime that will be created with single interest rate. Is it going to be through these banks as well, or there's a financial regulatory body that is going to handle it because of all the other issues that will begin to arise when it comes to bank and lending at single-digit interest rates?
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Let me take, because a couple of those questions centered around the incentive that I talked about at the last MPC that will be given, and so as to encourage banks to lend money to the real sectors and the agri sectors of the economy. And I think I see also issue of the FX market and all that. The MPC deliberated extensively on the issue of what can be done to encourage banks to increase credit. And because at the numbers that you looked at during the May meeting, MPC was concerned that credit to the economy was sliding, and that there was a need for us to incentivize the deposit money banks to be able to increase credit to the sector. At this meeting, we found a somewhat improvement, which is gratifying, but we feel that we must still do what we want to do. Two approaches were considered. The first approach is where we said that in order to achieve the objective of lowering interest rates, particularly to those priority sectors, manufacturing sectors, and the agri sector, that we would encourage large corporates to issue commercial paper notes in the market. Naturally, when they issue commercial paper notes, there will be information memorandum that will spell out the details of what they're going to do with that money. And that in order to complement the efforts of the banks, we would expect that those commercial papers will come at low rates, as low as single digits, let's even say 9 or below 10, and for long tenors, in this case as high as 5 years or 7 years, with moratorium, with specific purpose for that loan, and that if central banks sees those kind of notes in the market, we'll complement the efforts of the banks through any mechanism to support that by lending to that corporate at that single-digit rate. It is not meant to be in competition with the banks. It is meant to complement their effort because the monies will still flow through them anyway. But the important thing that we want to see to it that our objective and to see to it that we achieve lower interest rates, possibly single digit, can go through these means. Two, is the approach where we said, if a bank loans money, this time for new projects and plant expansion, verifiable, not refinancing, to a project for 7 years, inclusive of 2 years moratorium, at 9% interest rate, that bank, providing those evidence and verified by the central bank, that we will go into that bank's CRR and release cash from our CRR and release that equivalent sum to that bank at zero cost, in which case that bank earns a spread of 9% on that money. We feel this is novel. It is something that we should give a chance. In the past, you are very correct, we had reduced CRR and released liquidity into the market, but the liquidity was not channeled to the high impact, we mean employment generating sectors and productivity or output improving sectors.